We've all been there. You update an app you use every single day. You open it up, and it's a total stranger. Everything's moved. Nothing is where you left it. And you're just sitting there thinking, why? Why did they do this? Well, let's get into it.
To really get what's going on here, we have to start with the expectation, because the whole story really begins in the same very simple way.
It just pops up on your screen. You know the one. An update's ready for an app you use all the time. Seems totally normal.
And this is the promise, right? It almost always says something like bug fixes and improvements. It doesn't scream, hey, we're changing everything. It sounds like a little tune-up, not a complete teardown.
So of course, you tap Update. You're expecting the same app, just, a little bit better, a little smoother.
But then, what actually happens is the exact opposite of that simple little promise.
You open the app, and that's when it hits you. The mismatch. The layout you knew like the back of your hand is just gone. And in its place is something you've never seen before.
And just like that, your muscle memory is completely useless. Every simple thing you used to do without thinking is now a scavenger hunt. It's just frustrating.
Which brings us right to the big question. Why? Why would an update that promised minor improvements actually deliver this massive, disorienting overhaul?
Well, the answer really comes down to what the software system can see, and maybe more importantly, what it's completely blind to.
See, the system has absolutely no idea how you personally use the app. Your shortcuts, the quick way you navigate, it's all invisible. It can't see your specific habits.
But what it can see is data. Lots and lots of data. It's monitoring these huge, broad patterns across thousands, sometimes millions of users. It's looking for problems at scale.
And these are the kinds of signals that scream redesign. It's tracking stuff like low conversion rates, meaning new people aren't signing up. It sees a bunch of users just giving up at the same exact spot, and notices a wave of bad reviews or a spike in calls to customer support. And a really big one? The old design is so clunky it literally can't support any cool new features.
And that point about an outdated look, it's a much bigger deal than you might think. Data shows that a whopping 94% of a person's first impression is tied to design. So, an old-looking app isn't just ugly, it's a real business problem the system is built to flag.
So that huge, jarring change you experienced wasn't just random. It was a direct solution to a major problem that, chances are, you never even knew existed.
Think of it like this. You were expecting a small update, which is kind of like repainting a room. It's a cosmetic fix. But the data was telling the system it needed a major redesign. And that's like moving the walls. It wasn't fixing the paint. It was fixing the entire architecture of the house. So the whole point here is that the goal was never to mess up your workflow. The goal was to fix the app's long-term health so it could work better for everyone, especially all those new users who were getting stuck.
But making a huge foundational change like this, it always comes with a trade-off. Something has to be given up to gain something else.
And here it is, plain and simple. On one hand, what was given up? Your comfort, your familiarity, the muscle memory of experienced users like you. But on the other hand, what was gained was absolutely critical for the app to survive. It created a much simpler path for new people, and it built a new foundation that could actually grow and scale into the future.
Okay, so let's tie this all together and go back to that moment you opened the app and felt totally lost. First off, we now know that change wasn't just some random idea. It was a very calculated solution to a serious, system-wide problem that was hiding in the data.
And your intuition? It was perfectly logical. You expected a small fix because, from your point of view, the app was working just fine. And for you, it was.
But the system wasn't operating from your point of view. It was looking at the collective experience of everybody, and the data showed its foundation was failing. It had to make a foundational change. So even though that sudden redesign is definitely frustrating, it's not a mystery anymore. The app wasn't just getting a fresh coat of paint, it was being rebuilt from the ground up to solve a much larger problem you couldn't see. This explains why the software behaved that way.